Hey, I'm on a 9-hour drive, so I figured I'd review the new Faith No More album, Sol Invictus. I've listened to it 4 times today. Today is May 24th, 2015, which means, yes, I do have a pirated leaked copy. If you're expecting a typical Faith No More album, you're not gonna get it in the aspect that I know that you're thinking of it as, but in other ways you are going to get a typical Faith No More album because you don't know what to expect, and each one's completely different. At least after Mike Patton got in the band, it is. Here's my play-by-play on the track list. First song is the title track, Sol Invictus. It's pretty haunting sounding, piano driven. So the album starts out on a soft note. Really good tune, really atmospheric. Second song is Superhero, which was the second single they've released off of it, which to me sounds like it could have totally came off of King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. Shit, these people. Next up, I do believe, is Sunny Side Up, which is my least favorite, hands down, on the album. I don't absolutely hate it. You know, to me, it's kind of a goofy song. I know a lot of Faith No More songs are really goofy, to say the least. But it's just, it sounds like, you know, to me, it sounds like some indie band that, like, just, I don't know. It sounds like college rock to me. I don't know. I don't hate it, but it's the worst one on here as far as I'm concerned. What's after that? Separation Anxiety, my favorite one, probably my favorite song off this album. Separation Anxiety. This is the one where it really starts getting heavy. It has a real tribal rhythm to it. I'm not talking about the drums necessarily, but just the general rhythm to it. That one just gets real heavy. It's got some of the highest energy on the album. For that is Cone of Shame. Starts out, makes me think I'm watching an old Western, and then it ends up kicking in real good. Getting pretty upbeat and heavy. Rise. Rise of the Fall. That's right up there with Separation Anxiety for me. That one is really high energy too. I like it a lot. Black Friday starts off. It kind of reminds me of an early '90s Leonard Cohen song, or kind of like, or the song off that was on the opening credits of the movie Wonder Boys with Michael Douglas. Kind of that vibe. And then it kicks into something else. I've just been playing this album over and over, and I'm really trying to get it to beat in my head. It's harder for me to remember stuff when I listen to albums these days, because I listen to so many albums. I buy albums and stuff a lot, and I just put them in and listen to them. This is the only one I really have taken close note on the song titles in a long time. Most of the bands I listen to, everything just, it mushes together like one giant piece of music. So it's just hard for me these days to remember song by song. Black Friday, yeah, that's the one that sounds like the movie, the Leonard Cohen shit and all that. Next song is Motherfucker, which was the first single that they released off this album. When I first heard this song, I hated it. I mean, I did not like this song. I liked the remix of it, okay, but now that I've heard it in the context of the full album, it actually has made me like it, okay. I mean, it completely meets my approval. Song after that is Matador, which is my second to least favorite song on the album. It starts off with piano and kind of slow, and to be honest, it's lost my attention the 4 times I've listened to it, where I don't even remember what it's like. Last song is From the Dead. Really kind of a happy, feel-good song. Good way to close the album. So that's just a quick rundown of it. The band produced this album themselves, which is very apparent. I mean, It does not sound like a slick produced album. You can tell that this was done by a bunch of guys that threw a bunch of gear in a room and did it. Not that it's bad production. The production is completely fine, but it just doesn't have that really... I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't sound like anything like you hear on the radio. Like the production, you can tell is just... It was done by themselves. Once again, not bad production in the least. But it's kind of refreshing. It's actually got a good, you know, natural sound to it. It doesn't sound so sterile like a lot of the albums do these days. But anyway, it's a really good album. I really enjoy it a lot. Whenever I first, you know, knew they were coming out with it, it's like, how are they going to follow up album of the year? I mean, whenever they come up with it, is it going to meet the is it going to sound like what would have came after that if they would have stayed together? And well, it's Faith No More, so that's kind of a dumb question for me to ask myself, because every album's so different. And like I said, is it what you expect from Faith No More? No and yes. I mean, there's elements of classic Faith No More in there, but you got to kind of really dig the list to it, because this album is it's completely, in my opinion, a completely fresh thing for them. And they're just a band that, in my opinion, just raises the bar higher and higher all the time. Every time they come out with something. I know it's been almost 20 years now, but it's just, I don't know, man. I mean, there's no other band like them. That's why they're my favorite band. They're so versatile, and I just don't get tired of really listening to them too much, because they've done so much stuff. They cram so many genres into their music. I mean, you know, with King for a Day, to me was that's one where they really went off the wall, I think. And you know, when I first listened to King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime, it took me several listens to that album before I really got into it. Now it's my second favorite one. But this album, automatically, like this one to me was the easiest one to get into. Well, you know, no, I take it back. They were all easy for me to get into, except for King for a Day. But anyway, fantastic album. If you like Faith No More, you should check it out. I can see where a lot of fans might not really like it. I love it. But do yourself a favor, at least give it a couple listens the whole way through.